Okay, in this video, I want to show you how to set up these grids for your interior compositions to be placed in the 15 by 20 inch black background document. So each of these has, there's 4 interior compositions, and each one should be using a common grid. So what I want to do is I want to show you how to set up the grid first in Illustrator, and then I'm going to create a separate video and show you how to set up the grid in InDesign. Okay, so let's start with Illustrator. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open Illustrator. I'm just going to open a file, new, and I'm going to, in my new dialog document box, I'm going to go ahead and set up a 5 by 5 file. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's set up that 5 by 5 file. And it's a 5 by 5 see here, right here. And the rest is default is fine, is perfectly fine. So you don't have to set up lead up or anything for this. Now I'll just go ahead and say create. Now at this point, what I want to do is this part is very important, because what I need to do right now is I need to create a white background so that this is visible on the black background in the 15 by 20 inch document this will be placed in. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my rectangle tool to go ahead and create that white background. But right now, as you can see, I've got a fill color of white, but I got a stroke color of black. So I don't want a stroke color. I just want that fill color to be white. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead with my white fill color. I'm going to come right over to my rectangle tool. I'm just going to come down here. I'm going to drag that box out right like that. And now we have a white background. So I'm going to go to my selection. I'm going to click off that artwork. And that's layer 1. Now at this point, I want to go ahead. I'll name that as background. Okay, and then I'm going to create a new layer. Now in this new layer, I want to go ahead and set up my margins. Now in Illustrator doesn't allow you to set up margins in your new document dialog box like we do in InDesign. InDesign is a page layout program, so it allows you to set margins. Illustrator is an illustration program, so we're going to have to set our margins manually. Really easy to do that. So let's go ahead and make sure we're in layer 2. And I'm going to go back to my rectangle tool. Well, this time I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set that fill color to black. And I want to click out here on the artboard, and I'm just going to say, right now I've got this set up. I want to set my my margins up at 0.5 inches. So let's go 0.5 there, 0.5 there. Okay, I'm saying okay. Now there is I'm just using this to set my guides up to establish my margin. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put that right up in that corner. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit Command R to get my rulers up. All right, and now I'm going to grab this ruler right down here, and I'm going to pull it and set my first guide right there. I'm going to come to the side, left side, I'm going to grab my ruler right here, and I'm going to pull it right down, pull that guide and set it right there. Okay, at this point, I'm going to set my other 2 guides up to complete the margin, but I need to borrow this box, and we'll bring it right down there and make sure that's snapped right to that corner. At this time, we can take the guides from the ruler, pull the guides down from the ruler. We'll set that guide there, bring that one there. We'll bring this one right over here, and let's go ahead and finish setting up. Now, there's our margin right there, okay? So I can get rid of this box, don't need that anymore. All right, now I've got the white background, I've got layer 2 with my margin guides. Now what I want to do is I want to go back to my rectangle tool. This time I want to set this black to the stroke color, not the fill color. So I'll just go ahead and change those around. Stroke is set to black. I'm going to go to my rectangle tool, and I'm just going to drag this, set that right up there, and I'm going to set that right in there. Okay, and there we have it. Right now that's a black stroke, no fill. All right, now at this point what I want to do is I'm just going to come over to the word right across the top menu where it says object. Right next to the word Illustrator, it says object, and I'm going to come down and I'm going to say, come to path, and I'm going to say split into grid. Okay, that brings up this dialog box. Now make sure your preview is on, but I'm just going to go ahead and set up 1, 2, 3. This is 5 by 7, so there's 5, and then I'll come over to columns and we'll go 7. Okay, now I don't want to add a gutter here because that's going to turn these into individual little rectangles, and I don't want to confuse at all. So I'm just going to leave it set up just like this, and I'm going to click OK. Okay, not done yet because these still have a stroke color. So what I want to do at this point is I just want to come over right to the word view at the top menu. I'm going to come down to where it says guides, and I'm going to say make guides. Okay, and that's going to create guides. So if I click off the artwork, we can see that is now guides. Okay, and that's all set up on layer 2. All right, so now I can go ahead and just use your imagination. Let's say these are images and whatever you're using to set up your document. Okay, so we're going to follow the grid and leave the margin alone to provide that nice grid, nice padding. Okay, let's do that and that. Okay, so imagine this is your document with the hierarchies, with the Carfax and the creating emphasis in the typography. Okay, so imagine this is your file, right? So I'm just going to go ahead right here and let me show you what happens. I'm going to save this out. So let's go to File, Save. And I'm going to call this test. Okay, and I'm going to place this on my desktop. We'll just leave this as an Illustrator default. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and say save. Okay. And there is my test. Okay, so now at this point, I want to show you how to place this in the Illustrator file, that 15 by 20 inch. So let's go ahead and jump over to that. Okay, so with this is your 15 by 20 inch, you're going to have your guide set up on this too, so you have your 4 compositions with 1 inch gutter between. So we're just going to come in here in Illustrator. I'm going to go File, Place, and then we're going to navigate out to that test AI file. We'll select that, and we're going to go ahead and place that. So we would just place that in the guides where that belongs. Okay, so there would be one there, one there, one there, and one there, right? Now, notice you can see it, and that's because it has a white background. If you do this technique, you place it into the 15 by 20 inch black background Illustrator file, and you see that you're not seeing anything. It's probably because you haven't set up a white background. Okay, so that is showing you how to create your margins and set your grid to the interior margins in an Illustrator file.